purpose of this video is to go over 10 factors that I use to find good cryptocurrencies to invest in. Of course, the purpose of doing that is because we're trying to find altcoins, coins that have the highest potential in the long run. But also it's important to find coins that are good for the short and medium term. So why cryptocurrencies? This comes, if you're here, it's because you're either curious about cryptocurrencies or you've already decided you want to invest in cryptocurrencies. And I think it's important, to understand why you're investing in those. And, my personal opinions and the reason why I'm in cryptocurrency is because I believe we are about to undergo a paradigm shift that's very similar to what happened to the internet. And I believe we're in the very early stages. I believe that a lot of businesses is going to turn to blockchain technology, and you're going to see more people turn towards cryptocurrencies as an investment. And I believe in 2018, in particular, I think this is going to be the year of altcoins. And I'm a big fan of Bitcoin, but I still believe that a lot of these altcoins are innovating in different ways and are going to be particularly useful to businesses. And some of them are going to do extremely well. Some have already done extremely well, but I just think we're going to see more of them continue to do better. Also, I believe there's a lot of information available. So I think it's practical for average Joes like me to find cryptocurrencies, to find information, make rational, logical judgments. Unlike stocks, where it's a little bit harder to find information, usually only hedge funds have access to information about companies. So if you're just, someone that's trading on TD Ameritrade or E-Trade, it's very difficult to find information about companies, at least something that's going to make a difference in helping you determine whether or not an investment is worth investing in. In cryptocurrency, it's an open door. So if you put the time in, you put the effort into research, I believe it will pay off. I believe it already has paid off for a lot of people, and it will continue that way. So who this video is for? If you are new to cryptocurrency, I think you'll find this valuable. If you've kind of just got into cryptocurrency and you're just looking for a different way to research coins, I think you'll find some value in it. If you've been investing successfully in a long run, then obviously you're probably going to be doing a lot of the same things I already do, and most of this won't be new information. Maybe you'll find one or two factors to be valuable. So hopefully you get something out of it. And ultimately, I think one of the big reasons with cryptocurrencies is to try to avoid scams. I mean, there's a lot of ICOs, a lot of new coins coming out. So trying to make sure that you find ones that are real projects that have good prospects by real people. I mean, that's ultimately what you're trying to do, is find the best ones, the ones that are the safest. So my background, I hate to say anybody is a cryptocurrency expert because, to be dead honest, really nobody is. It's new to everybody. But I do have a unique background, I think, that helps. And I've had success in finding good coins. So, I hope that people can take this advice and learn from it, but not because they're doing what I say they need to do, but just because it makes sense. And my perspective comes from what I have listed here. I studied finance in school. I worked for a company in management. In the late 90s, I founded a digital marketing firm. We also do web development. I'm more of the tech guy in that department, so I have a good understanding of software development. I know a few programming languages. I don't program every day. That's not my full-time job, but I'm capable of seeing what's going on in the code in order to create software. Also, about 2008, I started spending some time trading on the side, mostly because I just enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I continued to trade. I traded the bull market in precious metals for up until around 2011. I also traded a little bit of Forex in there. And then for a while, I was trading the E-minis until I got busy with my business. I didn't have as much time. Obviously, now I'm into cryptocurrencies. And that's because I believe we're in a huge bull market that's just getting started. I believe the next 5 years is going to be crazy. And I think it's a perfect time to get into that. So start with the first thing. What's the first thing you want to learn about a cryptocurrency to decide whether you want to buy it? And that's, making sure you understand the project. And I think this is kind of the obvious one, but there's questions you really should ask about every project. Is the coin solving a real world problem? I mean, one of the huge questions you should also answer is blockchain really necessary? I saw an ICO the other day. It was some sort of blockchain grocery store. To me, that makes no sense. Blockchain isn't going to make sense for every type of business. So I really want to see that the project makes sense to be in the form of a currency. Otherwise, really, a blockchain technology is just a complex and expensive database. I mean, Andreas Antonopoulos says that, and I 100% agree with him. There's no reason to have a blockchain unless you're trying to specifically manage governance or decentralize the payment system, or really the key is censorship resistance, immutability. So in some projects, they sound good on paper, but they just don't make sense, for blockchain. And there's no shortcuts in it. You have to spend time reading about the coin. You need to look at the website. You need to look at the videos on the website. You need to read the white paper. Every coin should have a very detailed white paper that explains the concept. And even beyond that, you need to read articles, both positive and negative. You need critical review. You find out what other people think. Don't just believe one person. Read multiple viewpoints. And the main reason why it's important is that if you don't understand it and don't have conviction, it's going to be tough for you to invest because it's going to be volatile. Cryptocurrency markets are volatile. You could be up 200% in an hour and then watch it drop below where you bought it. So if you're going to buy something, and especially if you want to hold for even the medium term, you need to have that feeling that it's something I want to own. I mean, when I have a coin I really like and I buy it and it goes lower than my buy price, I feel like I'm getting it on sale because I believe in the project. And that's really what you should feel about anything that you're going to hold, especially long term. The second thing you need to do is really get a good feel for the potential market. Understand how big is the market. How big can this coin potentially get? How much of the market share could this coin potentially get? What type of market is it? I mean, there's a big difference between people making platforms for businesses versus someone making a platform for, a retail market. In some cases, the business to business is a much bigger market, but it has a bigger barrier to entry. Because you have to ask yourself, are businesses really going to develop the blockchain? Are businesses really going to use this complex technology? How easy is it to break in? And those are difficult questions to answer, but they're important. The third thing, you've got to get a feel for the technology. And I think this is something that's, without having a technology background, is difficult for people to comprehend. And blockchain in general is difficult to comprehend and understand. But it's important that you at least understand generally what they're trying to do. And probably the biggest question you can ask is, how ambitious is the project? Because some of these projects are, it's just a blockchain, and they're going to have a coin, they're going to have software that's easy to understand. And if it makes sense, then that could be a great project. There are other projects that where they're building a huge platform. They're planning to implement a lot of different aspects of it. the technology can be well advanced beyond what you can understand. And while it can sound good on paper, you can't, you have to determine whether or not this project is even achievable. And if it is achievable, I mean, how long is it going to take for them to have a working product? And if you don't understand the technical side of it, you have no choice but do the same with any type of research, and that's read up from people that are engineers, that from people that understand technology, from people that have developed blockchains before. You have to take their word for it. And every time you do that, you're going to learn a little bit more. And the more you read, just like anything, the more you'll know, the more knowledge you'll have, and the easier it's going to be able to figure out what cryptos to invest in going forward. The fourth thing is the quality of team. And anybody that's come from traditional investing that spent a lot of time buying stocks probably already knows that how important a team is. I mean, there are people that invest in stocks that's the very first thing they do, especially larger firms. They want to go meet people. They want to know that that person can do the job, because oftentimes it's the team that's more important than even the idea or the project. Um, so when you're looking at the team, and this can be difficult too, especially if you don't understand the tech side of it. But when you're looking at the team, you want to know if these people have the experience. Have they developed another cryptocurrency? You know, there's some projects are going to have that. Other projects won't, because look, there's not that many blockchain developers. But it helps if someone is in the tech industry. You know, there's a lot of people, from Silicon Valley that are getting involved in new cryptocurrency projects. I mean, a good example of a team member for a project I like is Basic Attention Token. I mean, I come from the web development world, so I already knew who Brandon Ike was. I knew he developed JavaScript. I knew he was part of Mozilla, co-founder. I mean, he's already taken a browser. When they told him that Internet Explorer, that he couldn't beat them, he helped put Firefox on the map. And now he's doing it with the Brave browser and the Basic Attention Token. I mean, he's somebody that you can see. He gives speeches in front of an audience at Facebook or Google. He's at conferences. He's out there. People know who he is. That gives me faith in that project. You know, it's going to be a tough implementation for the Brave browser, but I like it. And that's a good example of having a big team, an ambitious project, but the right people to do the job. And that gives you some confidence if you're going to buy into that project. Now, if it's something that's smaller, where you don't know the people, I at least want to see. I want to meet some of the people on the team. I want to hear them. I want to see them talking about it on videos. I want to see them talking about it in interviews. I want to see them in industry conferences. And if there are sometimes you'll see currencies have advisors. I'd like to see them say something positive about the project, because sometimes you'll see somebody, maybe it's a co-founder of another cryptocurrency, is listed as an advisor on the website, but there's no reference to that person even saying anything positive about the project. To me, that doesn't hold as much weight. It's nice to see them on, but I don't know if they're just somebody that just agrees with it, that doesn't have really anything to do with it. Number 5, the marketing and business component is just as important as the technical part of it. A good project, a good idea is a start, but you have to have the right people to be able to sell it. Sometimes I look at cryptocurrencies and I see a really brilliant looking development team, but nobody in the business side of it. And especially if it's a cryptocurrency that looks like it's going to be difficult to penetrate the market, it's concerning if they don't have somebody in business development. If you're unsure of whether someone is capable of being in business development, then sometimes you just have to talk to them. You have to learn more about them and see if you can get a feel for it. As well, how they display their logo, their brand, and marketing materials in the website. That can give you a little bit of an idea. What they say in social media, where they're at. I mean, those are things to look at. But if you're looking at a project that's all engineers and no business development, Better make sure that the tech guys know what they're doing. Social media, of course, I think that goes along with marketing, but we live in a socially driven world now, and it's important that these projects are using social media. I mean, I want to see very active on Twitter and at least have some activity on Facebook. I think it's a big positive to see people from the team on YouTube. But again, and that helps with the earlier factors I talked about. Um, and it's got to be sharing quality information. I mean, I want to hear and see things that are interesting and related to projects. You don't want to see just a bunch of fluff. You don't want to see the project getting overly political or really just tweeting about unrelated stuff. A little bit of that's fine. I mean, and having fun is important. I mean, I think you want a laid back, fun group. And if they're having a little fun on social media, there's nothing wrong with that. But you still want to see the bulk of the content to have some meat to it. You want to see it, uh, you want to see them talking about and evangelizing their product and coming up with news that's meaningful. And the last thing you want to do is kind of pay attention to how they grow over time. They're new projects. They're not going to start out with 100,000 followers, but if they start out and they get 1,000 followers in the first month, but they don't grow anymore for months after that, then that's a little bit of a concern. I mean, I think you want to see them adding growth, adding Twitter followers, adding Facebook followers. I mean, that's important. The roadmap. So most cryptocurrencies are going to have websites. They're going to talk about their roadmap, and understanding the roadmap, I think, is really important, because what I want to see on a good roadmap is something that comes out fairly frequently that is important. Sometimes I see a roadmap and, like, for say December, they're going to redo the white paper. Well, that's nice, but it's not that important. Then in January, their next milestone is maybe to attend a conference. Well, that's great, but that's not going to get investors excited. I mean, what you want to see is that they're developing their wallet in December. They're developing their mobile wallet in January. They're adding some sort of functionality in February. Their main product is going to launch Q1 2018. You don't want to see a bunch of minor things and then milestones that really don't mean much, and then they're not going to launch their product till Q3 2019. I mean, sometimes that's okay, but a lot of times you just have to be wary that if they're not going to be doing much, they're going to become irrelevant, and their price is going to drop. I mean, I've seen it a lot. You'll see a lot of projects where there's an ICO and it's ambitious and it sounds great. It's a great idea. They even look like they have a great team. But then on their roadmap, they're really not going to be doing anything for a year. And when that happens, those tend to just drop in price very slowly over time. And that could be fine if you have a 2-year, 3-year, 5-year, 10-year outlook. But sometimes you might like the project, but you might decide, hey, I'm gonna wait and maybe buy this in 3 or 4 months and kind of see what they do. The eighth factor is, and this is something that you really can't do with stocks, that really I think sets apart cryptocurrency from traditional investments, and that is actually take a part in it. Become a member of the community. In some communities, I'm very active. I help. I listen. I talk. I ask a lot of questions. Others, I just kind of read. It just kind of depends on what the project is and how interested I am in the project. But most of these have Slacks or Discords that you can chat with people, and that really gives you a good feel for the project. And just as important, you get a good feel for the personality of the team members. I mean, on some projects, I've bailed on projects where I've just watched team members get frustrated and start cursing and start yelling at people and just really lose their cool over stuff that I didn't think was that important. That tells me that maybe that person maybe just can't handle the pressure. Maybe that person just isn't the type of personality I really mesh with. I like to see people that are calm. Because look, in these Slack rooms, people are going to criticize. Every Slack I've been in, someone comes into the Slack and says, why is the price low? What are you guys doing? Why did you lie? I mean, whether or not they did, people are always saying that. And I like it when the developers come in and say, well, this is what we tried to do. This is why we did it. And if it makes sense to me, that's the kind of response I want to see. I don't expect perfection, but I want to be able to see how a team responds. And I want to be able to actually talk with both the founders and developers. They're busy. They're not going to be able to just be at your whim. You're not going to, if you're wasting too much time on the Slack, that's not good either. But if like the developers, or at least, I mean, it's okay to have a community manager that speaks for the developers, but if no one's ever on there to answer questions, then that's a bad sign. And that leads to, in the community, be critical. I mean, you should be looking for the negatives. It's easy to find the positives. The positives are usually easy, but the negatives, you want to understand what is it that's going to trip this project up? What is it that's going to be a negative? What can cause the project to fail? I mean, you have to be aware of it, because I'll tell you what, my guess is, even though I think altcoins are great, a lot of them are going to go to zero. A lot of them are going to fail. I mean, the goal is that maybe if you invest in 15 of them, more than half of them, go up multiples. A few of them just go up a decent percentage, and then a few of them fail. And overall, your portfolio is going to be very good. But you've got to realize that things can happen. All of a sudden a guy leaves a project. All of a sudden a main founder, gets in an accident and dies. I mean, God forbid, but things like, it's life. Things like this happen. Things can happen. No one's immune. Bad news can happen. Mistakes are made. There's a hack. There's an error in the code that causes an issue. It can happen to any project. You do your best to try to mitigate that, but you do have to understand where the weak points are. And the last one I'm going to say is read the charts. And that's easy for me to say because I have experience in trading. But I really don't think you need to be an expert in technical analysis. And you don't have to view technical analysis as some sort of magic either. Just basic understanding of the price and price movement is important. If not for anything, it's that you be wary about buying stuff that's at all-time highs. I mean, if something just launched and it goes up 500% in a week, even if you love it, be careful about buying it there, because a lot of times it goes up on hype and it can go down just as quick. And even if you like it, I always recommend people, look, if you like it, buy a little now, buy a little bit next week, scale into it. That way you're not, no matter what, whether it goes up or down, you're getting kind of an average price. Sometimes it's best to just buy a little. If you like the project, just buy a little every month. Then it doesn't really matter. And don't worry about missing out. The fear of missing out is so strong in this, it's crazy. There's so many different coins. There's new opportunities every day. Another coin I like ends up dropping, and it seems like I buy it every other day, because there's always going to be coins that go on sale. There's always going to be opportunities to buy. So don't worry if, hey, you like a coin, you wanted to buy it, but it never came down to your price. So what? Buy another one. Or like I said, scale in over time. So basically, just, a summary of what I'm saying is, learn about the project and the market. Be careful about buying coins that are going to be tough, for someone to enter the market. Look, there might be a coin, there might already be a coin that's trying to become a streaming television service. How's that coin going to be able to compete with Netflix? Is that the right time to enter with all this net neutrality going on? I don't know. I think that would be a tough project. I'd probably shy away from that. You have to be careful. If there isn't enough reason, if there aren't enough developers, if the tech is weak, that may not be good, especially if there's competitors with better tech. Be careful. Then again, if it's too complicated, it may take years before they implement it. You may not want to hold it that long. I also say you have to be careful about the team. I see some projects now and then where it's like 3 guys, 4 guys from some foreign country, that have worked for a company I've never seen. I can't pronounce their names. I've never seen them talk. They may have the greatest idea in the world and everybody loves it, but that makes me nervous. Because you just don't know. And I'll give a good example. Confido is a cryptocurrency where you know, after it just went under. I mean, it just went out. They said they had legal fees, and then just it completely went to, I think, to almost zero. A lot of people liked the project. The community manager was stunned that it went under. But then after they realized that nobody had ever seen the founder talk, no one had ever seen him like on a video. No one had ever talked to him or met him in person. I mean, that's if anything, that's a number one way to avoid a scam. The founders, multiple people on the team, I want to see them talk in person. You know, you just you got to be careful. There's a lot of scams. Look for people that make public appearances. Watch for make sure they're on social media. Make sure they're you can join the chat and talk to the team. Look for the negatives, but realize you're going to find negatives about every coin. And lastly, just be patient. Scale in when you want to buy. I mean, if you follow these things and you do your research, you're going to have a better chance in the end. The last thing I just want to say is that you have to be aware of the risk in this market. Cryptocurrency is volatile. I mean, it's great to see these great gains. We're all going to buy Lambos because we just did 10x in a week. But that's what it takes for something to go 10x in a week. It's just as easy for it to get cut in half, or you lose 90% of the profit. So you got to make sure you're not investing more than you can lose. You've got to be able to you have to understand that it can go down just as fast. Sometimes the market just goes down. Look, in July, in the summer, you could have bought any altcoin and been up big. And just the same, the last few months, very few altcoins did well. Most of them tanked. Sometimes the market is going to be that way. Sometimes altcoins are going to do terrible and Bitcoin does well. Sometimes Bitcoin just goes sideways. And that's probably the best thing that can happen is Bitcoin goes sideways or just goes up really slowly. And usually, oftentimes, altcoins will move with it. But you have to be aware of the market. If all of your altcoins are down, you kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. The bad part is when most of your altcoins are going up, but one's tanking. That's when you probably need to do more research and find out why. And in the end, this is going to be a journey. It's a journey for everybody. I think, in my opinion, this is the time to be in crypto. This is the time, I think, especially over the next 5 years, where we can all be part of a huge wealth transfer. A lot of old money is gonna move into crypto, and the people that are in early are a lot of people have already made life-changing money, and I believe that that's going to continue for years to come. So if you like this video, if you found it valuable, subscribe. I plan to do more videos talking about different issues, doing research on specific coins, trying to share research with people. I'm not trying to make direct investment advice. I just enjoy this market and hope to continue to talk about it and help people. And hopefully we can all end up buying Lambos. So until next time, bye-bye.